Hi there, welcome back to a new chatty video.
And we thought we'd take the opportunity to record this one whilst we're away in Florida. And any guesses of what resort we're at? We're at Fort Wilderness, so it's quite nice and peaceful here, so we thought we'd get this video recorded.
Yes, we're talking about travelling as a group today.
Yep.
We went on our big family trip in October. We meant to film it during that trip. We made the notes, we never got around to recording it, so we thought actually while we're in Florida now, let's chat with you about travelling as a group. We had the perfect group in trip in October, didn't we? Lots of people asked, did you have problems, fallouts? It just went so smoothly.
We've had so many comments actually about people that say they've done family trips before and they've said never again. And so maybe it's just a few things here that we did. Not saying it's going to necessarily be perfect, but it worked for us.
Yeah, we didn't have any issues at all, did we? And
no,
it surprised us.
Really did. We expected we'd be going away, never wanting to see the family again.
We've got some strong characters in our family.
We certainly do.
Lots of
personalities,
different needs, disabilities, and we just thought, you know, how many of us were there?
10 or 11, wasn't it?
Something like that. But it just went so well. The trip completely exceeded our expectations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first of all, I think this is something, regardless of how many people you are, how many people are going and are on a trip, is actually having like a plan and an itinerary.
Yeah.
Obviously, people have got different needs, so of course it could be it's not just one itinerary for everyone, but it could be have your plans in sort of up front. So things you can do together, things maybe that people want to do separately.
Yeah.
So I think that's the very first thing to say. Actually have a plan of what you want to do.
We had various different itineraries. We had one, my mum had one, my sister had one, and the friend travelling with them had a separate one.
Also be sort of honest, and also I think using the word selfish is probably the right thing.
Yeah.
Because people, we're paying a lot of money to go on holiday. You want to have it as your holiday as well as spending it with family.
Yeah, so like for my sister, for example, it was their family holiday. The four of them needed to be selfish and do what they really wanted to do. But
selfish in a nice way, not in a nasty way.
No,
do you know what I mean? So for example, you've got to put yourself first.
Yes, and your family first.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, that's very true.
Otherwise, I think you get the fact if you start, that's when I think the bickering starts, because there's maybe slight resentments on things and you think, I wish we were doing something else.
Yeah.
So just be clear.
Open and honest.
And communication and talk as well throughout.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we all knew exactly where we stood. We were all open and honest about things. There were certain things that we didn't do. We wanted to keep costs down because we'd obviously had other trips. So we decided not to do SeaWorld, not to do Discovery Cove. They all really wanted us to, but we had to be selfish and just say we can't afford it this trip. We've had other trips. But obviously we didn't stop them from going. My sister went to Universal. We didn't. We then took the opportunity and had a night with my mum, used our DVC points and stayed at Bay Lake. So we all did different things, but it was absolutely fine with everyone because we all respected each other's.
So I think that kind of brings on to kind of split up if needed. For example, I do remember, like you just said there, the days they went to maybe SeaWorld, you've got to do. Then also during your actual day, if you've got plans, there could be a particular ride someone wants to do or a particular meal.
Yeah.
Don't feel afraid to split up as needed.
Well, we did that in Hollywood Studios one day. My sister, it was their last day in Hollywood Studios. They really wanted to get on some rides again for the second time. So they actually stayed in the park. We weren't that fussed. So we went to Texas Roadhouse with my mum and her husband. And we met up with my sister then afterwards, didn't we?
Yeah, I think also giving yourself extra time as well is a thing. And I think that's across the board for everything, including getting ready in the morning.
Yeah.
It depends, I guess, on where you're staying. It was a bit of, should we say, a split stay because the family were all in a resort, different resort
Disney
the first
resorts,
week. Yeah. And then we were in a villa the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
We all had our own space, so it was fine, but it still takes time, doesn't it? Everyone has their own needs. Trying to get out of the house.
Getting around a park definitely needs extra time.
I was going to come on that, getting around a park. I mean, we had the situation with Sarah Jane needing loo stops about every 10-15 minutes.
She has bladder disease, just in case you haven't watched our vlog, so she has very frequent toilet stops.
And also food as well, because people are going to feel hungry at different times. We found if you watch our vlogs, you find that we don't always eat a huge amount, and that often as such, whereas your mum probably eats about every hour, and a full meal every hour as well. That's true, isn't it?
They like their food. But Sarah Jane and Ben are similar to us, so
for example, I remember one time we were in Epcot, your mum was surprised we didn't want to eat, but they were hungry, so they actually had Chinese. And no issue with that. It's just, again, just got to communicate.
Yeah, and again, like with different needs and that, so especially somewhere like Epcot, my sister had Chinese with us, her kids had
a burger from somewhere else, wasn't it?
Yeah, my mum had gone somewhere else. We all kind of just split up.
But fine, Sarah Jane's family wanted to do that. It didn't affect us. We still enjoyed ours. They were eating separately. Fine. That's what they decided.
The other thing with regards to needing extra time sometimes, be prepared when you're going to a restaurant that if there's a large group of you, it may take longer to get you seated.
Yep.
We went to Miller's, didn't we? And we were told it would be 2 hours at one point.
You thought I was joking, weren't you, when you said that?
We ended up all being seated in the bar area.
Yeah, because there was a high top and someone didn't want to sit there with that group.
Yeah, so we got seated at 40 minutes. But be prepared if there's a large group, it may take longer to get you seated.
I think that comes back to the planning as well. Look where you're going. See also if they do call ahead.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Texas Roadhouse does. So that's just one other thing to bear in mind. Again, can come down to the planning part.
Yeah.
So, that's good. In regards to the food as well, the other thing to bear in mind as well is split bills at the start of the meal. If you're going to be splitting bills,
a lot of restaurants prefer that, don't they?
So just ask for separate checks, and they'll actually ask, well, who's on this check? They're so efficient. I think they're so used to it.
Yeah, in Florida especially.
And I think we had no issues at all, did we?
No.
And it was so easy. Especially when it came to the end of the night to pay, so that's another tip as well.
Yeah. The other thing is, with regards to like you saying, sort of being prepared ahead of the time, is being organised when you're about to go on rides, and also having photos taken.
Yeah, I think we were that family. Those of you who've probably been to Disney maybe more frequently and know how it kind of works, where you're told what road to go in and everything like that. I think your family, because it was new to them, it was almost like rabbits in the headlights, wasn't it? And when they're told 3 or 4, as in people can go on something, but then told their rows, you could just see it was like they were.
And they all went off into different rows anyway.
So just be prepared for things like that.
And choose who's going to sit with who as well before you get on the ride. And also photographs as well. If you're wanting to do, like we did some character photographs, and obviously decide beforehand which, like if you're doing like a full family group and then splitting into individual families or individuals having photos, know what you want before you actually get to the time of having them done. Yeah,
it's being organised. I think we've all been there, haven't we? We've been there, haven't we, when we've seen the families that I think we were that family in October, weren't we?
I think we were.
We definitely were that. So I think one other thing as well is I know we all rely so much now, especially in the parks, of having mobile phones, and definitely with things like the Disney app, My Disney Experience. But just remember, go old-fashioned and have planned meeting spots. It happened to us a couple of times where we didn't really think of this too much.
No, we didn't.
And we just relied on people just being able to message. In actual fact, while we talk about that, we actually did create our own WhatsApp group. We had one anyway, but just for the family. So everyone could see any of the messages.
And we also set up a separate one just for photographs as well. That's another tip I wanted to add, actually.
Oh, that's a good point,
Yeah, so we had the separate one for talk, for chatting, but we had a separate one just for photos, so no chat in there. And then we'd all put, at the end of the day, everyone would put their photos in there, which worked really well. Now we've got this lovely WhatsApp group full of photographs, which is really nice.
Just going back on that in regards to relying on the Wi-Fi, is the fact of have maybe some meeting points, because it can be unreliable. It can be
very unreliable.
If it's a busy park.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily going to have that Wi-Fi to message.
Or if somebody's phone dies or something.
Yeah, so if you are splitting off, say, okay, right, we'll message. If we don't hear from you, we'll be at such and such at this time.
Yeah.
At least you know then. Worst case scenario, you know you're meeting up at a particular time and a place. This could seem really trivial, but until it's happened, that you're then waiting for someone thinking, where are they? You're at a loss then, aren't you?
And I did actually put on my notes, be prepared to get lost. We lost my sister a couple of times, didn't we?
But that's not unusual, is it?
I know, but one time it really upset her when she got lost in Epcot. The rest of us found it funny, but she didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently
She was lost for about half an
Apparently
hour.
it was different in the dark.
Yeah, we also lost them. This was the only time we really had a problem driving to Anna Maria Island, wasn't it? We lost them on the motorway.
Yeah, so in actual fact, talking about, sorry, just cutting you off there, it's a good point actually, not just the parks, but we were going to be going on a bit of a drive for a couple of hours, and we had said we would stop off at a Cracker Barrel or an IHOP or something like that.
Yeah.
But first one was very busy, we were both together at that time. The next one,
we lost them.
We kind of lost them, and then they were thinking, well, they must have stopped at the next restaurant, so they stopped. We weren't there.
No.
So
we all got a bit lost.
We should have just said, we'll meet you there.
We had a final meeting point. We had arranged to meet at an area in Anna Maria Island, so they ended up turning up there, but we should have actually made it more clear. We just expected to be able to stay behind each other, which was a bit silly, really.
Yeah. I think, if we covered most of the points there in regards to, I think just having respect as well for people, especially when you're in the same accommodation.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously the villa, we had lots of space. That's not going to be the same for everybody. It could be people are sharing rooms, could be kids sharing rooms.
That's true.
I think you do need that space and your own.
And like you say, with respect, we actually purposely put my mum and her husband in the only bedroom on the ground floor of the villa. They had their own bathroom, their own bedroom. They had a lot of space. We had a second living area upstairs, so that's where our two families, then my sister and us we all hung out, so that my mum and her husband, we knew that they would go to bed earlier.
Yeah, if it was late night, we wouldn't be disturbing them, would we? So
exactly. So it just meant that they had their own sort of private space, and they didn't have us disturbing them. But I think respect, comes down to a lot of things, doesn't it? Having respect for each other's space and that.
I think that. Does that kind of cover the points that
two most important things.
Oh, go on.
Alcohol.
Your mum had plenty of that.
Definitely alcohol.
Is that how we got through the holiday?
Yes. And having a sense of humour.
Yeah, do you know what? You say that. I think we
laughed for 3 weeks.
We did, and it was a good time. It was your mum's first holiday, wasn't it? I'm not singling on your mum, but it was mum's first holiday to the US, and Andy, her husband, to the US. He's been before, yeah. But it was your mum's first, should we say, proper holiday abroad for a long time.
Yeah.
And she's someone that is, I don't know if anyone else's mum or grandma want to feel they want to do everything, and
I think most people do.
I think they do. But it was a case of you've got to just relax, have a sense of humour, and enjoy yourself. You're not there to wait on other people either. I think that's the other point as well.
Yes.
It's I know it's not about the sense of humour, but I think your mum was just wanting to be busy
and do everyone's laundry.
And we were saying, no, you're on holiday.
But we just all took the mick out of each other for 3 weeks long.
Hence a sense of humour.
Yeah. So rather than my mum sort of annoying everyone with keep asking to do things, we all just took the mick out of her, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And then she found it funny. So that, I think definitely have a sense of humour when you're going away. You've just got to laugh everything off, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, for us, this trip was great. I think having the space in the villa really did help. I know there are some people that do spend their 2 weeks in like a room. If anyone's done that before and shared like a room
with
for
friends,
2 weeks with friends, how has that gone? Because literally that's a little bit different from a villa. So we'd love to hear how you managed to do that. For example, it's great at keeping costs down because it's the cost of one room. In the States, often have the two, say, double beds, and it can be a great way to have a holiday. But of course, you are in a confined space. So I'm just curious, we've not done that. If anyone's watching this now and done that, because we obviously can't
any tips?
Comment in regards to travelling that way. So if there's anything you found that works for you, great. I mean, we've done it with the kids, haven't we? And one way that's worked for us in that way, we've kind of got up early, haven't we?
Got up earlier than them to get out and give them space.
We've gone and grabbed coffee, they then got ready and either met us or something like that.
Again, it comes down to respect and space, us respecting that they need their space. So, but I think those tips really helped us. I hope they'll help you. Let us know if you've done any big family trips. Would you do them again? And what tips would you also add to those? And also, have you got any trips coming up like this? And are any of these points here things that you'd thought of? Or is there anything else that you've thought of that we haven't mentioned before as well? So we'd gladly like to hear those as well, because maybe we'll
we'll share those points another time as well.
We said we would 100% do that trip again.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was really good.
Yeah, we hope that these tips have helped you. Thank you for watching.
And if you don't already, please subscribe. Should have said that at the start.
Yeah.
But yeah, please subscribe, like the video. Any comments, glad to be reading them. So thank you so much.
And if you haven't seen the vlogs of the big family trip, I will leave the link to the playlist below. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.